What's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to give you guys my top 3 5G stock picks of 2020. You guys know around here we love those revolutionary game-changing sectors, so I figured this would be an appropriate video to make. Before we get into it, I know you guys know this, but I have to give the disclaimer: this is not financial or investment advice. The reason I make these videos is to hopefully inspire you guys to going on to doing your own research, coming to your own conclusions, and making your own decisions. Alright, so that said, let's get straight into it. One more thing though, if you do go on to gain value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a like and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already and want to catch more content like this. Alright, so all that said, let's get straight into it. This is Marvell. I should say this is Robinhood that we have mirrored on the iPhone right here. Got it on the screen for you guys. So as we go over each of these 3 stocks, I'll just open them up on Robinhood just to get a very bird's eye view look of the charts. We're not going to get into any technical detail today. That is for future videos if I do continue to cover these individually. But today we're just going to take a very bird's eye look at the charts. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking. Again, just from a very bird's eye level, okay? And then as you can see on the left here, we do have the list of the 3 companies. But first, I want to give you guys a very quick summary that I wrote for you, talking about why I'm bullish on 5G, the 5G sector as a whole going into 2020 and into the future. Okay, so we'll start with that because I feel like that's the best place to start off. All right, so why I'm bullish on 5G in 2020. 5G, or the 5th generation of mobile networks, is a necessary next step in creating a faster and more efficient way to transmit data. 5G is roughly 20 times faster than its predecessor 4G, and in a world that continues to trend digital at a rapid pace, we need rapid speeds that can keep up. Also, with the launch of 5G-enabled phones from Apple, Samsung, and the rest coming up this fall, I expect this industry to do very well in the months to come. All right, so that said, I am bullish on 5G, but if you guys do follow the channel, you would know that I am hesitant on the general market right now, okay, on the equity markets. The S&P, the Dow, 5G even included in that. I'm very skeptical of the fact, even you can see here on this phone just with Marvell open, like Marvell is way above all-time, like definitely at all-time highs right now, like by far. And a lot of the rest of the market is doing extremely well right now, although this economy is in a very rough place right now. And I do understand, you guys have to understand as well, that the economy and the markets are 2 very different things, and that is something that has been proven over the past month. So I am hesitant going forward. I would not be surprised if these do see a correction along with the rest of the market if that day does happen to come. But of all the sectors in the equity markets, of all the big tech companies, I'm very bullish on 5G because, again, I think people will keep using internet. There won't be a time where the use of internet slows down, at least that I can imagine. So again, I think 5G, if the rest of the market does see a downturn, I think 5G is one of the few sectors that will be able to weather the storm fairly well if that does happen. All right, so that said, let's get into the 3 companies. As you can see right here, I will preface this by saying all 3 companies below develop and produce semiconductors used in building out 5G infrastructure. They all do similar things, but they do specialize in different fields. Each one of them plays their own special role in 5G and building out 5G networks. Again, we're not going to get into the details today. I will cover them in future videos if they do continue to do well. But again, I just want to turn you guys on to these if you do want some exposure to the sector. All right, so we have Marvell, Skyworks Solutions, and QRVO. All right, so we'll start with Marvell. As you can see here, we have it open on the right. This is a crazy looking chart. So up 153% over the past 5 years. Over the past year, it's up 58%. 3 months, it's up 46%. Okay, so again, this stock is doing very well. Again, the 5G is definitely a movement that is coming 100%. It is necessary for this world, especially as we're using more data, more internet. So it makes sense that 5G is really excelling in today's age, especially with quarantine. There's so many factors coming into play why 5G is a necessary thing that will happen and a necessary industry. So Marvell is my first pick. It has a market cap, as you can see here. That's all I have written out under each of these stocks because these are 2 things that I always like to look at when evaluating stocks. All right, very, very base level. This is nothing complex by any means, but these are just 2 good indicators. If you guys aren't familiar with them, market cap is the total value of the company on the markets, and PE ratio is price to earnings ratio, which is just a very kind of ground level way to determine the fair value of a stock. I'll say that. All right, so Marvell has a $23 billion market cap. Its PE ratio is 15. Again, as you can see here, it has been on absolute fire. I do believe in this company in the long term. I personally would be hesitant at this very moment to invest just because it's so high and been on such a such a run lately, like 43% in the past month. I know it was after a crazy correction we had, but I mean, it is seeing crazy growth right now. So proceed with caution if you do want to get exposure to any of these 5G stocks, to be honest. That applies to any stock, is always proceed with caution, do your research. But Marvell is a good company. PE ratio of 15 is actually very fair. That is on kind of the lower end of PE ratios, especially for a company building out like digital infrastructure. So that's my number one pick in this sector, specifically because it does have a lower PE ratio, as you can see here, than both Skyworks and QRVO. Okay, so second is Skyworks. Let's open that up right here. So Skyworks, let that load. All right, so on the yearly, we are pretty much back up to all-time highs, okay? So we had this crazy correction. I'm sure you guys are familiar back in March when everything tanked. So down to $70. It's almost doubled since then, back up to its previous high. It might just be almost, yeah, so up to almost exactly previous high just this week. So that is very bullish. Again, proceed with caution with these, just because I'm skeptical of the whole markets. But again, if we do see a downturn in the markets, the economy is obviously downturned, but if we do see a downturn in the markets, 5G will probably get pulled with that. But if you guys are bullish on the markets, I think 5G, I've said this over and over again, but I do think 5G can weather the storm better than a lot of other sectors in this market. Okay, so back up to all-time highs of 15% in the last 5 years. That's a good sign because it's obviously a more valuable company than it was 5 years ago. So that's not very much on a 5-year basis. So that's good. Again, that's pretty much all I want to look at. I really don't want to get into the nitty-gritty with you guys just yet in this video. Again, just turning your guys' attention to these. Market cap 21 billion, so roughly the same size as Marvell. PE ratio of 27 though, significantly higher on a price to earnings basis. So be cautious of that. They are not as profitable in terms of value of the stock as Marvell. So although Marvell is I'm switching between Marvell and Marvell. I don't know how to say that. I'm just gonna say Marvell. I'll probably say both, to be honest. But you know, Marvell, just based on a PE ratio, is a more fair valued company. So that is why it is my number one pick. Skyworks 27 PE ratio is fairly high, but again, not as high as a lot of the other things in the market right now, which is a good, like even 39 on QRVO, which is the last one, which we'll look up right now. Even 39 isn't a crazy high PE ratio relative to a lot of the other companies, like Lululemon, which is an athleisure company that sells, like, has a load of commercial real estate, retail locations, and sells physical goods, has a PE ratio of like 70 right now. So just keep that in mind. PE ratio does definitely come into play, and I use that. Again, just it's nothing complex. You guys should always look at the PE ratio of a stock anytime you evaluate it, and if you're thinking about investing in it. So just keep an eye out on that. But yeah, even 40 on QRVO isn't crazy. Like, there's way higher in these markets right now. So that's why I proceed with caution in this current ecosystem landscape. All right, so QRVO on the yearly, we are up 80%. That's great. And on the 5-year, we are up about 40%. Okay, so QRVO is similar to Skyworks, almost scratching all-time highs, a few bucks away from its previous highs at the beginning of this year. So QRVO is actually the most recent addition to my portfolio, but they've been releasing some very tangible good news lately, some solid news, and they're making solid progression in this 5G space. So I decided to gain some exposure just a little while ago, but I did like what I read up on in regards to this company, and I did add it to the portfolio. Okay, so QRVO, again, has a market cap of 13 billion. It is the smallest of these companies, so it's significantly smaller, obviously, than Marvell and Skyworks by about $10 billion. So this would be the stock that has the most potential if it really does continue to succeed and the 5G sector blows up. This individual share price wouldn't surprise me it wouldn't surprise me if the individual share price of QRVO stock went up more than Marvell and Skyworks, just because it has a smaller market cap and it takes less capital coming into the stock in the company to raise the individual share price. Okay, so I think QRVO is a good bet just if you want to bet on 5G as a whole, and it has by far the highest PE ratio of all of these, of 39. But again, there's way higher in this market. That is not too crazy. It is a little crazy, but I like QRVO just to kind of balance out. Just diversification in your portfolio overall is great, but even within sectors, it's good too. So if you do want exposure to a sector, it's good to have multiple plays, not just one company. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there, you guys. quick little plug time. As I'm sure you guys assume, I'm bullish on 5G, as I just stated, but it's a very small piece of my portfolio, actually. If you guys do want to know what else is in my portfolio, as well as what I'm thinking about the general markets, you guys can check out the complete portfolio product and newsletter. I send that out every trading day. I update it every trading day and send out a newsletter to you guys who are subscribed to it every trading day, talking about which trades I made that day, rationalizing my trades, letting you guys know which positions I like, which positions I'm entering, which ones I'm exiting, and just kind of my current thoughts on the overall market. So check that out if you want to. It's a good way to support, help me help you, to be honest, and it's a good way to support the channel as well. It really encourages me to keep making this content. So I appreciate it if you guys do. If not, no worries at all. But yeah, we'll call it there, guys. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.